Ladies and gentlemen, a man who's won 1,000 national championships and now is the man on College Game Day, our friend, Coach Saban.
Yeah, Coach! Thanks, Pat. Good to be here, man.
It's great to see you. How was the offseason?
It was great. It was great. I missed some of my partners here in the team, especially you.
Well, we missed you as well. You were talked about a lot in the Thunderdome. The boys and I have such a high regard for you, not only because of what you've accomplished, but how you've transitioned into speaking into microphones has been flawless. You need to know that. You think that this is just easy, I think, because you've been great at it. You're fucking great for football. Is that not right, boys?
Yeah,
Amen.
yes. Without a doubt.
Yep. Huge.
No questions. You are great for football. So I appreciate the fact that we get to talk to you. And I guess we'll make the announcement now. Coach Saban will be joining us every single Friday.
Yeah.
I'm glad to do it, man.
Yeah, you're great for football, though. So
Glad to be here.
Okay, let's talk about this season. We got Texas, Ohio State to kick this thing off. 3 top 10 matchups in the first weekend. How do you feel about that potentially becoming a thing going forward? And what should we expect from these teams that are ranked very high in your eyes?
Well, first of all, I think it's great that we have games like this, and I wish we had them every week. I wish that, some way somebody could control the schedule a little bit, that we had some interconference games and the best games. So it's great for the fan experience. When it comes to this season, this is one of the most difficult seasons to really predict, who's going to do what, especially after the first few teams, because there's so many changes on rosters. There's so many quarterback changing teams, and who's going to fit in the best? Where's the leadership, the chemistry going to come from? How are they going to fit in with the players that they have? What's the production going to be? Hard to figure out.
How do you feel about quarterbacks going to be? Now, granted, Sane's been here for a little bit. Starts with you. Arch has been there for a few years. That's good. But there's a lot of teams that got brand new quarterbacks. Obviously, we've seen it go in one particular direction with Florida State. Whenever they have DJ Uiagalelei, it doesn't work out. They go down. Will Howard comes here. They go up. How do you feel about the new quarterback coming in, maybe for a year, just to see if the good team can maybe win a natty?
Well, I think it's all about the guy. If the guy's got maturity and leadership and the team's going to sort of respond to him, that's a big thing. But also maturity to me is the definition of, can you stay focused on the right stuff? And as a competitor, you got to be able to stay focused on the right stuff, especially at quarterback, because you got the ball, you're distributing the ball every play. So it's important that you can gain the respect of your team by making good choices and decisions and communicating well with the team.
Do you miss it? It was reported like 4 times you're going back to coaching this offseason.
You know what? And that came out of nowhere. Miss Terry said, where did that come from? She wouldn't let me do it, number one. I've never thought about doing it, number two. And I don't know how somebody could just come up with this out of thin air.
Now, you're running a government arm, too. Remember that? What was it, boy? Nick Saban's going to head up the new college football committee.
Commission.
The commission. You remember that? Congratulations. Hey, thank you for the
work, Coach.
And,
more you can do.
I didn't know anything about that either. And Miss Terry sees it on, I don't know, the internet somewhere, and she says, why didn't you tell me about this? Tell you about what? I didn't know anything about it.
Oh, no, the internet's getting you some shit at home. I love that. You would be the right guy for the job, which is why it went so viral. Because as soon as they said Coach Saban's going to run a college football commission with the government, everybody's like, yes, he's the right guy. So everybody was pumped that it was. Massive amount of work to do it all. Now, obviously, you're going to be an ear. You will certainly help. I feel like you love college football, want to see it succeed. You're still in the Alabama building, I think, on a weekly basis or daily basis. Who knows what your schedule is, but I saw you speaking to them. You're still very much involved in college football, want to see the best for college football. You're not going to be running the commission, but are you getting ideas run by you? Are you a part of what the future of this thing looks like? Because the game, I think, is immaculate, and that's all anybody wants to kind of keep pure.
Yeah, and I'm very much committed to it in every way. And I would be a part of a commission if it was a real commission created by the government that was actually going to enforce some rules and regulations and guidelines that would help the game and promote the players in the game. I'm all for players making money, but you need some guidelines relative to competition and creating some parity in the league. Every competitive venue has it. I'm all for players, but I am really all for college football. There's so much enthusiasm, so much interest in college football. And, it's still pure in a way. And sometimes we can't let that purity sort of leave what it has always been.
Yeah, I love college football. The environment, it's what we have to represent America whenever you talk about best fanhoods. Like over in Europe, they got the hooligans. They're crazy. Gumpy was actually over there in Spain experiencing. I was over there as a young lad, watched the game. We're talking about flares being shot off in the crowd. Like they are chanting, going insane. America's representation, college football fans. And we got a great venue here for tomorrow to kind of kick off this incredible season. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, Coach, tomorrow with these quarterbacks, we always hear the cliche, hey, what do you do to a young, inexperienced guy? Oh, heat him up, move him off the spot, try to throw some pressure at him. I guess if you have a young, inexperienced quarterback, how do you get him? Think about every other position. Like we get all jacked up and you get excited and your adrenaline's going. You go out and hit somebody. As a quarterback, it's kind of the opposite. How do I hone it in and kind of dial in all of this energy? I guess. What do you tell a young quarterback going into games like this?
Well, I think the most important thing is you got to play one play at a time, and you can't let a bad play affect you. But I always try to tell our quarterbacks they all want to make plays. They all talk about making plays. I said, how about eliminating the bad plays? If we don't have drive-stopping mistakes, whether it's a sack we shouldn't have taken, whether it's a turnover that we shouldn't have had, because the number one thing for a quarterback to me is can I identify what the defense is doing, can I communicate it to my teammates, and once I get the ball in my hands, can I execute with good judgment and decision-making and accuracy with the ball for throwing it or handing it off or whatever it is. So I think those things are really, really important to stay focused on. And there's so much noise, I call it rat poison out there relative to these quarterbacks at these kind of programs that makes it even more difficult for these guys to stay focused on the right stuff.
Modern
That's what
day,
I would tell them.
Will Howard actually admitted to us, which every player, it's not really an admission at this point. He was like, we're told not to read the stuff, but it's impossible. Like nowadays, it's impossible. It's literally everywhere. Have to have a very mentally tough quarterback to lead the team. Tone has a question for you about another quarterback.
Yeah, Coach, obviously it's year 2 for Kalen DeBoer, and he brought in his OC, Ryan Grubb, to be back this year. But obviously the biggest question right now is Ty Simpson, who's a new quarterback, who obviously you know well. I saw an article recently about how you called and you were talking to his dad, who's also a head coach, like, hey, Ty needs to stay here when he gets to play here. Things can be great with him. What do we need to know about Ty Simpson that we don't know, the guy and then also the player on the field?
Yeah, well, I think Ty is, a great young man who has, and I have all the respect in the world for these guys that, stay in a program for 3 years, develop, wait their turn, and I think that's the thing that Ty has done extremely well. Ty, there's so many of these guys that grow up now being outcome-oriented, and they're always looking at results. How many passes did I complete? How many touchdowns did I have? And then they create these expectations for themselves, and when they don't live up to them, they get frustrated very easily, and that body language is not good for a quarterback. It's not good for a team. So that's the big thing that Ty's had to sort of work his way through is – not get affected by a bad play, stay focused on the next play, because he's got all the talent in the world. He's got legs that are real. He's a very accurate passer. He's a good decision maker. He's smart. He's a good leader. So it'll be interesting to see how he can maintain the consistency and performance that defines success by not getting affected by ups and downs in a game.
Do you think that there's going to be any quarterback changes early? Like, how long do you think these great teams who have new quarterbacks are giving them a leash? What do you think?
Well, I think it depends on who the next guy is.
Like Julian Saint. Oh, okay.
I think it depends a lot on who the next guy is. Sometimes if you have a young guy that you really have a lot of confidence in, that you think he may not be ready, kind of like the Tua Jalen Hurts thing that we went through a few years ago. We kept playing, Tua thinking that one of these days he's going to be ready, and he actually went and was ready in the national championship. But that was the plan.
Yeah, it worked out.
We were trying to bring that guy along, and Jalen was struggling a little bit toward the end of the season, beat up a little bit and all that. So if you can bring a guy along and you have a really good player behind your quarterback, then you can afford to have a little bit of a short leash if you think it's not the team's not moving in the right direction.
There's a lot of difficult decisions that are made. It feels like nowadays college football a little bit more like pro football than it's ever been. And if you have some pro football experience, it might help you. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, for the last 8 months or to a year, however long it's been, everyone's got to weigh in on Bill Belichick in North Carolina and have an opinion about, whatever. We had Michael Lombardi on yesterday, and he said that they had a couple conversations with you, reached out with you, just for advice advice or whatever the case may be. Now that we're a couple days ahead of them actually taking the field and we're going to see the product on the field, what are your expectations for this North Carolina football team? And do you think the whole situation will feel different to Bill, or is coaching ultimately just coaching?
No, I think coaching is coaching, but I do think there's some what I would call operational differences, in college. I mean, just take the sidelines, for instance. You got 45 guys on the sidelines in the NFL. In college you could have 100. So that changes a lot of how do you manage that? How does it affect you? How does it impact you? But that's just a sort of a stupid operational.
Oh my God! It sounds like you hate how much conjecture is around. Yep, congestion on the side.
I made certain guys stand behind the bench because I hated the traffic on the sidelines. But my point is this: they've got 70 new players at North Carolina on their roster. Bill is a great coach, he's a great teacher, and he's great at developing players. So if you have that many new players, you really don't have a chance to develop them. So, my expectation, it's going to be a little bit of a work in progress, and he's going to make all these players better, and they're going to benefit and create more value for their future because of Bill. But it's going to take a little time. So, and I think everybody should understand that.
Yeah, and we're going to be there on Monday for TCU, UNC. Big kickoff for them on Monday night down in Chapel Hill. Michael Lombardi just keeps saying how beautiful it is. You need to come down and see us. It's beautiful down here. He's always selling. You have to, I guess, as a college football coach. That's kind of what they're doing now. Nobody did it as good as you, brother. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, we just had Ryan Day on, and we kind of talked about the mentality of the team going into this year, how, last year's great, but they didn't do anything. And we were kind of talking about how it almost turns into a relief of winning versus, wanting to win in that type of, mindset. But for your teams with Bama, I'm assuming after you guys won national championships, it was very similar. Hey, now that season's over, we haven't done anything. I think you've mentioned before, I've taken 24 hours after a national championship, and then you're right back to it. What do you think that will do for Ohio State? Do you think that is probably the smartest way to go about it for both the coach and the team? And do you think that they'll have a lot of success in, going on to try and repeat this year?
Well, I do think it's something you have to overcome. And you mentioned the word relief. I call it relief syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, you do something special, which society promotes this, so we all grow up this way. And then we should get rewarded for that, and we should be able to rest on our laurels. Kind of like when we all made an A on the first test and we jacked around for the next 2 weeks and made a C on the next test, and we were happy to have a B average.
But I started at C, though. That's the issue.
So you had to make an A on the next.
Yeah.
All right, so but this whole concept of having to deal with success, because success is not a continuum, and nothing in the past that you had success with is going to really affect your ability to have success in the future. So this is not normal. I mean, it's something that players have to be aware of. You have to coach it into them that they can't rest on their laurels because everybody's shooting at you. You become the mountain. Ohio State won the national championship. Everybody wants to beat them even more now than ever before. So players have to understand that. It's a new team. Everybody's got to buy into the new role that they have, the leadership that they have, and you got to replace that hunger that's created by not having success. Like Ohio State getting beat by Michigan last year probably had as much to do with them winning the national championship as anything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
of perspective.
Yeah.
You coming out and yelling at their fan base after that was awesome.
Sweet.
Game day.
Yeah, well, they needed it.
Listen, they need to get in line and shut up. This team can win a national championship. And
right, yeah, and they got this psychological disposition about Michigan that's just killing them.
Yeah. Michigan's dancing the entire time because even when Ohio State wins a national championship, now Michigan's getting credit for it, and that is certainly something they dance with all offseason. AJ has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, college football rivalries, it's a unique world we live in, I guess, in this whole situation. But for tomorrow, noon kickoff out here, what are you expecting to see? Like, I guess in the first game, too, when you're coaching, your first time you guys go on the field, what do you want to see out of your team?
Well, you want to see your team execute with discipline and not make the kind of errors in the game that are going to affect the outcome of the game. Like last night in the Nebraska game, 1st and 1 at the 1, guy jumps off sides, you get penalized, then you end up kicking a field goal. I mean, those kind of things just absolutely kill you. And those are the kind of mistakes that you want to have the discipline to be able to execute in a game so you don't have those issues and you don't have those problems. But let me just tell you something. No coach in the country really knows exactly how his team's going to respond in the first game. You know, because you don't even know based on how your offense did against your defense. Maybe your defense is really good and you think you don't have a lot of confidence in your offense, but the fact of the matter is just because your defense is pretty good, your offense may not be that bad. So you have all these questions running around in your mind, and you can't really know what's going to happen until they go out there and play. You know, and one of the things that I used to do that, you know, my assistants used to get mad at is they wanted to coach all the time. And Belichick did this to me. All right, I coached all the time. And every now and then we'd have a team session where Bill said, let the players play. You're not allowed to make calls for them. You're not allowed to correct them. You're not allowed to do anything. Let the players play. So that's what happens in a game. Nobody tells you what to do. Nobody makes the call at linebacker which way you're slanting or what coverage we play in. So you got to let the players play so they can take it to the game and they have confidence in what they're going to do, which is really important in the first game. And the more maturity your team has, probably the better chance you have to do that in the first game.
Returning starters is always something we look at. And then amount of starts that players have during the transfer portal era now is something that's looked at, especially with what Sig was able to do at Indiana. Even though he's talking all that shit all the time, he was certainly able to turn over that roster and that culture pretty quickly. Are we going to see more of that, you think? Like Vandy was obviously awesome because of everything that happened with that, their entire run. Arizona State comes out of nowhere. They win the Big 12. They get into the dance. Indiana, nobody expected ever to be good at football in the Big 10. Feels like it does provide for that, this modern era that we have here.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And everybody's choosing how to build a team. And I think it's interesting that Clemson has kind of built their team, developing the players that they recruited and have very little coming out of the portal or going into the portal. Where LSU, who has a lot of people coming back, they have the most players that started 6 games or more at a major college. 18 guys in the portal have started 6 games in, you know, Power 4.
Yeah, big games.
Yeah, so they've added a ton of people to their team that can have an impact on the game. But how are those pieces going to fit together, especially early in the season?
Yeah, if you pay the wrong guy.
Pay the wrong guy. Shit out of luck.
Yep.
That was a great moment last year. That was a great moment. You been paying attention to any of the NFL stuff right now with Micah? How do you know Jerry Jones well?
How can you not?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
No, I do not know Jerry Jones very well. But, man, I tell you what, when you got a significant, dominant player, especially pass rusher, I mean, those guys are so hard to find.
Oh.
I mean, boy, it'd be just hard for me as a coach to let a guy like that go, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. And there's been a lot of great clips coming out of all of it, including Micah celebrating around the house and telling his mom she's retired forever, obviously. And that's cool for him from the personal side. But the Green Bay Packers feel the exact same way you do. They go, hold on. We just picked up 2 firsts. And Kenny Clark, great player. Nobody's talking about that enough.
Great player.
He's a great player.
Kenny's
got to stop the run.
Kenny's a great player, and Jerry said he got to stop the run. But I think there's a lot of teams saying, did we all know this is what it took to get Micah Parsons? I think anybody would want a dominant pass rusher on their team. Jerry's getting judged pretty hard right now by everybody.
Yeah, I think so because, you know, there's certain guys that affect a game. And, you know, wide receivers can affect a game. Quarterback can affect a game. Great runner can affect a game. But pass rushers, in this day and age of football, when over 60% of the plays in the NFL are passes, and that guy can impact the game, not just in sacks, but how many times do you affect the quarterback? And how much is he worried about you as a rusher? I just think that's the one place on defense that a guy can really make an impact. Like you could say our whole secondary, we got to cover 5 guys. You got one pass rusher, you don't have to cover anybody. It's like the quarterback.
Yeah, you're right. Ball's coming out quick.
Coming out
Ball's
quick.
coming out quick, too. I mean, that makes everybody else's life very easy. And that's how Ty feels as a Green Bay Packer fan. And we as football fans can't thank you enough, brother. How about tomorrow, Coach Corso's final game day? That's good. We just went through the meeting a little bit ago. They'll be paying their respects to the man who did a lot for college ball. What are your thoughts about him before you get on the show and then now being able to work with him last year?
Well, the one thing I think Lee Corso did, and he did it with such grace, is, we used to just watch games and people would, call the game. He brought entertainment to this business, which is what you do. And we all have an opportunity to do for the fans. It made it better for the fans. It was more enjoyable. He's got a great personality. I still remember, when I was playing at Kent State, we had Jack Lambert, and we played his Louisville team, and they had Howard Stevens and, Tom Jackson and all these guys. They had a really, really good team, and they beat the shit out of us. It was something. So I know him from the coach's side, too.
Yeah.
Playing against him and seeing what he did at Indiana. We played him when I was here at Ohio State. But what he did for the entertainment business part of it is, to me, the greatest contribution that he made to college sports. And I think people don't realize the value of that.
Yeah, I think college football on a rocket ship, obviously, because the tradition and the pageantry and the game, and football is the greatest sport on earth. But what he did to help, you watch what game day's growth was with Lee Corso and college football's popularity. And it's like there was a driving force behind a lot of it. And Lee Corso's face is synonymous with it. And it's like getting a chance to watch him work here the last couple of years has obviously been an honor. He's been incredibly kind to me. And just as a fan, whenever I watch it before, I like somebody that, not scared to go in there and spin it up a little, to mix it up a little bit. And it's not just like me that is benefiting from that. You think about everybody. Charles Barkley, obviously, is a massive person that I look up to in his business because the way he speaks his mind, the way he delivers, the way he entertains every single time he speaks. It's like Lee Corso, Charles Barkley are the two, in my eyes, that are up there in the Mount Rushmore of sports entertainment. And, tomorrow's going to be a sweet day honoring them,
Yeah, I know. My first experience at Texas A&M, I'm a coach, so I'm serious about the game. All right, and I get there, and, they're singing to you when you come on stage.
Okay.
Country roads.
Take me home.
All right, and then you're standing on a chair.
Yep.
And then he's dancing the jig with Notre Dame stuff. And I'm saying, what the hell did I get into here?
You're great. You're great, though. You are a phenomenal. You're 1 for 1. You won an Emmy.
Yeah, Drew.
Boom.
That's
must have been
a couple of them. Didn't he win a couple of them? He won the.
Didn't
the
you and Bill?
Newcomer, right?
And then before,
What's that?
I thought before too, Saban and Bill, when they had their sit down one-on-one for an hour, they won an award for that as
You're
well.
just collecting these things, I guess. Is that might as well. Is there trophies? I'm going to win them. Coach Saban football.
It was
Coach
a little bit
Saban
of a
football.
bummer though.
Hey,
'Cause he's only said all
wanna
right once.
All right.
I really just want to make an impact and help people understand the game better and enjoy the game
You're
better.
doing
That's
a great
my
job.
number one.
All right.
Good
job. All right.
All right.
Is it fun? Has it been fun?
All right.
Sounds like he was told not to do that.
Got it, AJ?
Have you been having fun with it for real?
Yeah, I love it. It's been very enjoyable. And I like the preparation part of it, too. It keeps me watching film, evaluating players, looking at schemes. I love it.
Keeps you in it without having to,
Work 14 hours a day.
or go to the press conference afterwards, or have to recruit a kid back to your team. There's a lot that you don't have to do. You've earned this position, and we're all lucky to watch it. Can't wait to see you tomorrow on game day, and every single week joining us on Fridays. We're very thankful for that.
Good. I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the GOAT, Coach Saban.
Yeah, go!